What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. And in this video, I am live on YouTube like every single video I do. And today, I will be continuing my series of doing a 7-round mock draft for each NFL team. If you've not seen it yet, I literally just got finished doing my top quarterback prospect rankings for the upcoming NFL draft. Make sure to go check that out. I have a surprise ranking in there, so make sure to check that out. Just posted. Literally just got done doing it. Today is a 7-round mock draft of the Cleveland Browns. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The Browns picked 26th overall in the first round. They won a playoff game for the first time in around 20 years. A really successful season for Cleveland. With most of my listeners being Bengal fans, they don't want to hear it, but in my opinion, the Browns probably have arguably the best future in the AFC North. It just depends, on if they're able to sign some of their players. But we'll go ahead and get started here in the first round. Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver at Minnesota. I know some people may not like this pick. I personally love it a ton. In my opinion, I believe the Cleveland Browns should trade Odell Beckham. In my opinion, I just don't think it's a coincidence that once Beckham goes down, that's when Cleveland's offense started to, really go full stride and play really, really well, and that's when they win games. I think they should trade Beckham maybe for like a second-round pick or so, because they're not going to get nearly as much as they traded for Beckham as they were now, because he's coming off a season-ending injury. But Rashad Bateman, 26 here. I think this is an amazing pick. Right now, I do think it's possible Bateman could be here, but as we get closer to the draft, I don't think he's going to be. He's tested, on the measurables and everything like that really, really well. I wouldn't even be surprised if Rashad Bateman would go around in the top 15, maybe even to New England. But I think he's going to be one of the best receivers in this draft class from a couple years from now. But I really, really like Bateman. I think he's getting overlooked by guys like Devontae Smith. I wouldn't even be shocked if he was drafted before Devontae Smith. It seems like Devontae Smith is dropping in mock drafts quite a bit, and analysts may not be as high on Devontae Smith as others are. But Rashad Bateman there, 26, I think that's a phenomenal pick. But this is kind of a scenario if the Cleveland Browns would trade Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not sure they will. I personally believe they should, but that's a scenario if they trade Beckham. Something else to point out. All of these mock drafts are from ProFootballNetwork.com. I do not do trades on these. These are from a mock draft simulator. And I do not, like I said, I do not do trades on these. And I can't dictate on which players, falls or reach or something like that, because these are from a simulator. I cannot determine, what players are available at what pick. But in my opinion, this is my 26th mock draft of doing a team in their 7-round mock draft. I personally believe this is probably the best mock draft any team has had throughout this point. This was a phenomenal mock draft for the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion. So as we continue here to the second round, I have them taking Dylan Moses, a linebacker out of Alabama. Mack Wilson is not quite what Cleveland fans and the Browns had expected. He was also from Alabama as well. They lost Joe Sherbert last season in free agency. They could really use that linebacker to fill Sherbert's void there. I think Dylan Moses would be a really nice pick. Maybe him here, or maybe Chad Surratt if he's still available with their third-round pick if they don't take linebacker in the second. But, if Dylan Moses did not get hurt last season, he probably wouldn't be the first-round pick if he decided to come out last year, but, came back. And his draft stock has, took a hit compared to last season. But I really, really like that pick there. Dylan Moses is one of the best linebackers in the draft. In the third round here, there was talks, Cleveland possibly could have tried. They tried to sign J.J. Watt, but obviously J.J. Watt signed with the Arizona Cardinals, and with them trying to get J.J. Watt, it kind of proves they want another extra edge rusher. And despite having Myles Garrett, they were just 15th in the NFL in sacks this past season, and they take Patrick Jones here in the third round. Patrick Jones is one of my favorite edge rushers in the class. He's probably my top 5 edge rushers. But I don't know if he's going to be here. That's the intriguing thing about it, because I've seen some mock drafts happen in the fourth, some in the second, some in the third. And Patrick Jones is here. To me, this is a no-brainer pick. I think if you can get Patrick Jones as the 89th pick in the draft, that's probably going to be one of the best picks of the draft. and that would definitely be the best pick of this mock draft if this were to happen. I mean, he is just phenomenal. You have Myles Garrett on one side and Patrick Jones the other. I mean, you're bound to get probably at least a sack or two from either one of those guys combined every single game. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. 2 years from now, let's say that we'll get Patrick Jones, Myles Garrett, and Patrick Jones would get you like 25 sacks combined a season. Patrick Jones to me is really, really fun to watch. I mean, he seems like he gets a sack every single game. If you're Cleveland, I mean, you have to be ecstatic about that pick in the third round. So they actually have another third-round pick here, the 91st pick overall. And here they take Trill Williams, the corner from Syracuse University. Last season they had Greedy Williams. I believe it was last season or maybe the year prior. But, Greedy Williams was out for the year. He's coming back from a season-ending injury. Also, something else to look at is that Denzel Ward is a free agent, I believe, 1 year from now. And it's not a guarantee that the Browns are going to re-sign him. And, I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, I believe the Browns could potentially have the best future in the AFC North, but that has a huge implication, what if they sign their players? Because, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Denzel Ward are all free agents next season. And, Trill Williams, I think he's one of the best tacklers as a corner in the draft, and that's something you don't really see nowadays in the NFL. But with Denzel Ward being a free agent a year from now and Greedy Williams coming off a season-ending injury, I think Trill Williams would be a really nice pick here in the third round. And I wouldn't even be shocked if the Browns maybe even took a corner in the first round or second, because they pick let's see here, they pick 59th overall in the draft in the second round. I have a guy like Newsome or Asante Samuel would be there somehow. I could definitely see a scenario where the Browns would take a corner in the second instead. But I really like Trill Williams there in the third. In the fourth, they could use another safety. That's why I haven't taken Andre Cisco, the safety from Syracuse. Cisco is one of my favorite safeties in the draft. He's all over the field. He can get you interceptions. He's a hard hitter. He does everything so well. I think this is around this point, I think it's going to be one of the best players available. And I think Cisco is one of the more underrated defenders in the NFL. So I really, really like this pick here by the Cleveland Browns in the fourth, taking Andre Cisco. So that was their first fourth-round pick. They actually have two fourth-round picks. And I love this second fourth-round pick here. Defensive tackle Marvin Wilson. Some of the defensive tackles are free agents, so I went with Marvin Wilson here. I think that's a phenomenal pick because it's not even a guarantee that Marvin Wilson from Florida State will last this far. And like I said, with the free agents, that's you have a hole on your defensive line. You need to fill that hole by getting Marvin Wilson, and I think that'd be a great pick. Be one of the better players there. Be a team need. I mean, that's pretty really good if you're able to do that when it's a team need and you're the best player available in the draft. You're able to do that. So as we go to the fifth round here, if you're just tuning in, I'm live on YouTube, but all the videos I do doing a 7-round mock draft of the Cleveland Browns. In the fifth round, we take Chris Rumph, the edge rusher from Duke. Kind of like I said at the beginning, with them trying to get J.J. Watt, that kind of proves they are trying to get improvements at the edge rusher. They were 15th in sacks this past season. I know I already had them getting Patrick Jones in the third, but Chris Rumph with the fifth round pick with a 170th pick overall, if he's still available, that's just one of the players you cannot pass up in the draft. He's really, really underrated, and I don't understand why he's not getting. I mean, I know this edge class is loaded, and I know teams are going to have completely different rankings as edge rushers as some other teams do. But Chris Rumph in the fifth, I think that'd be a phenomenal pick for the Cleveland Browns. Really give more depth to their edge rushers. In the sixth round, I really, really like this pick here. I had them taking Javian Hawkins, the running back from Louisville. Like I said, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are both free agents 1 year from now. Javian Hawkins to me would be possibly their third string running back. Hawkins to me kind of reminds me a little bit of Kareem Hunt or Austin Eckler. A guy who can run but also catches out of the backfield. And with both those guys being free agents, I think it's really, really unlikely they re-sign both of those guys. So I can maybe see a scenario where they re-sign Nick Chubb and Javian Hawkins could be their backup running back. I mean, I know I have them drafting a running back, and I know they have both those guys. I fully expect they'll re-sign one of those guys, but I think Javian Hawkins could go in there and play pretty decent if he had to. And, running back is the most easiest position to place in the NFL. I mean, for example, look at James Robinson, the undrafted free agent running back this past season from the Jacksonville Jaguars. he had over 1,000 rushing yards from Illinois State. It's just really crazy, and kind of goes back to show, running backs are really easy to replace. I'm not saying he should be the replacement, but I think he'd be a pretty nice backup to Chubb or Hunt if they would re-sign either one of those guys. So the Cleveland Browns have 1 7th-round pick, and it's their last pick of the draft for them. So I had them taking Grant Stroud, the linebacker from Houston. I know I had them taking Dylan Moses in the 2nd round, but this is kind of one of those players. I mean, he's there. I think he's a really nice player. He should not really be here, in my opinion. He had a pretty nice Senior Bowl practice and week, and just get a little bit more depth on, at linebacker position. I know he had Dylan Moses, but those are 2 really nice linebackers. I think will be pretty good for the Cleveland Browns to give them more depth. Young players who can develop and play really, really nice for Cleveland in years to come. So that was, this was kind of the Cleveland Browns 7th-round mock draft. Personally, this was probably the best mock draft scenario for any team I've done so far. This is my 26th mock draft I've done for the teams doing a 7th-round mock draft. This is probably the best mock draft for a team I've done so far. So we'll go over these picks once again. In the 1st round, the Cleveland Browns take Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver from Minnesota. In the 2nd round, they take Alabama linebacker Dylan Moses. In the 3rd round, they take Pittsburgh edge rusher Patrick Jones. That's probably my favorite pick in this draft. In the 3rd round, they take Syracuse corner Trill Williams. In the 4th round, they take Syracuse safety Andre Cisco. In the 4th round, also in the 4th round, they take. In the 4th round, they take Marvin Wilson, defensive tackle from Florida State. In the 5th, they take edge rusher Chris Rumph from Duke. I personally really, really like this pick here. I don't think Chris Rumph should last this far. He's getting overlooked so much. This just does not make any sense at all, in my opinion. I think it possibly go in the 4th. Have Finch Intel on here and everybody else. If you're just tuning in, finishing up the Cleveland Browns 7th-round mock draft. So in the 6th round, Javion Hawkins, the running back of Louisville, really like this pick. I think Javion Hawkins is a really underrated running back. And to finish off, I had them taking Grant Stroud, the linebacker from Houston University. Thank you all so much for watching. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Sports 200 Show.